Thank you for staying with us. Well, we have Mr. Galtima Liman, who is a former presidential candidate in Nigeria, who joins us, a political economist, and weighing in on this matter of the state's bailout. Please tell us what your take is on the federal government's intervention, with the funds being announced to be released to the state, running to almost 800 billion naira.
What's strange about it, the intervention is not a new initiative. You found out that even in the United States of America, where the Nigerian constitution and all these other democratic processes are being copied, you saw the case of the Chrysler Corporation, where interventions were made at the federal level. You saw also Barack Obama making an intervention to bail out the banks and all that. So what is strange about a Buhari administration bailing out the state governments and all that?
Well, you know already now that the federal lawmaker went to court about that fact. And some Nigerians are arguing that the state should be responsible.
He's entitled to go to court, you know. It's a democratic process. But is it an interesting thing to do at this moment in time? You know, Nigerians have given an overwhelming mandate to say Buhari, you know, and they're expecting very huge change in their life pattern. So going to court and all these other big games that are going on, it's more or less like a distraction. And I don't think it will be in the interest of the presidency to be paying attention to these kind of things, especially when very serious fundamental issues about power sector reform and all these corruption issues that he has solved. He's now in Washington with Barack Obama discussing serious issues. And so he can go to court and do whatever thing he wants to do there.
Well, some people are of the opinion that, look, if the state should live and die, well, I've had guests on the program who has that opinion that, look, the states should live and die from what they earn or from what they generate internally.
Come on. We're all part of a family, you know. We're all part of a family. If one part of the family, let's say you are told I get burnt or something, God forbid, I'm not praying that for you. And it affects the brain. You know, so the states are constituent part. Look, in the formation of a nation today, maybe you can see a state as a lost leader. Tomorrow, what if a state that you say is a useless state finds uranium, for instance, and everybody's saying, hey, we're making millions of US dollars from that state. So what are you going to do?
Interesting. Tell us what to make of some of the figures that we showed earlier of some of the funds that the state generates internally, what they get from the National Assembly. Some of the states have talked about how the situation started getting bad from 2013, that it is not today. But again, some people will say, what of what they generate internally? Shouldn't they be able to cater for their workers from what they generate? And of course, some people will ask the questions, where are the security votes?
Very interesting. The states, in my own opinion, as you rightly said, are very viable. You know, it depends on how committed the governor is. You know, there are so many areas where you can generate income. But, you know, the fact of the matter is that those are not the exciting time. You know, it has passed, and then they have accumulated salary arrears. Some of them had gone into buildings in Dubai. Some of them had gone into private aircraft and things like that, you know. So it's too late for us to cry when the milk has been spilled. The most important thing is to salvage the credibility of the system at the moment and begin to look at what ought to be done in future, and then take some kind of remedial measures against those state governors that you know, have to put their states in the state of quandary.
Okay. All right, interesting. Tell me, if you may, on this issue of what the state of the funding is, because a lot of people are saying it is not a matter of only now, but a matter of the future. What becomes of this state? How will they be able to sustain themselves after now?
If you look at the constitutional provision, the states, given the current 1999 constitution with all the amendments, the federal, you have the exclusive legislative list. You know, the currency, banking, and shipping, and all these major oil and gas issues are within the domain of the presidency. And, you know, the state at the moment, even if they are doing the best they can do, they cannot add significantly to the aggregate economy. And so, therefore, we should be talking a lot more right now about, for instance, Buhari's trip to Barack Obama and what ought to be done in terms of bringing the kind of positive changes that we're talking about. I had earlier on proposed, now with respect to the U.S. trip. For instance, now we can say, hey, Uncle Barack, now you said you want to assist us in Nigeria. Give us a land train, for instance. We have a lot of these Mack trucks there. Now, these Mack trucks you can flood the market, you know, 100 to 200,000 Mack trucks, brand new ones with aircon and all this kind of thing. Immediately, it brings down the cost of transportation, and you can crush all these old trucks that we have and then hand it over to, these road transport workers or some of these very exciting entrepreneurs in business. So he now goes to Germany and says, hey, I don't want Nigerians to be wasting fuel on the private cars and all that. Can I have these buses, these Mercedes-Benz buses with all these dispensing machines and all that kind of a thing? And you have all these workshops across the country. That provides immediate employment for a lot of Nigerians and things like that. So these are the kind of things we should be talking in this material side. Not talking about state governments that can hardly add any momentum to the national economy at the moment.
Some people have argued about the term bailout. Exactly that. Look, these funds are naturally going to come to the states in any case, so it's really not a bailout. Someone, Emmanuel Iwafune, was saying that if the funds for the bailout is not from federal government, how come they claim to be bailing the states out?
They have to bail the states. If somebody is irresponsible and the house now is hungry, for instance, now somebody went into the kitchen and then he just made away with the meat and he made away with the rice. Now, would you come back and begin to say, hey, the rice and meat has been stolen and so everybody has to be hungry in the house? No, you take a very firm decision and then see what had led to this kind of quagmire. And then in future now you can make steps like Buhari right now, Mr. Clean, Mr. Integrity has come. And I don't think some of these state governors will do the kind of things that they used to do under former administration.